Good afternoon, girls.
Good afternoon, sir.
In our last video, we talked about
Libya.
it is part of our chapter called Expansion of Democracy.
Yeah.
So, previous class we learned about Libya, how Libya was decolonized and what happened after that, how Muammar Gaddafi and other military officers, took the power and what happened during Arab Spring. And people tried to have democracy, but they failed. So still some problems are going on in Libya. But now we'll learn about
Myanmar.
If you see geographically, they are very far, Libya and Myanmar. Where is Myanmar? As you can see, she drawn very, little, very impressive but little fat and short Indian map, but still manageable.
It is looking good only.
Yeah. So Myanmar is here. It is a neighboring country of India. You can say northeast of India. This is northeast of India. Just beside that, Libya is there. Some other countries are also here. Bangladesh, right?
Yes.
In this area. China is above, right? So Libya is very near from India. So we'll learn about what happened and in Libya. There are many similarities. Okay, where was Africa? Libya.
In Africa.
Yes, in Africa. So which part of Africa?
Northern.
North Africa. Very good. Okay. So coming to Myanmar, there were many similarities between Myanmar and India when they became independent. Like both Myanmar and India were the colonies of. Both Myanmar and India were the colonies. British. Right. And both were similar in many ways. For example, both became independent at the same time almost. The difference is of 5 months. India became independent, everybody knows?
August 15.
August 15, 1947. I think after 5 years, that is early 1948, Myanmar became independent. And Britishers left from there also. This is one similarity. Another similarity is like India had different states when Britishers left. There were many independent states. For example,
Hyderabad,
Junagadh, and Kashmir. Independent states were there, and some 500 more states were there. Similarly, in Myanmar also, although it looks very small in our map, but there were many independent states in Myanmar also. Like in India, we have different castes, languages, religions. For example, so many languages. Can you name 5 languages of India?
Urdu, Telugu, Marathi, Gujarati, Tamil.
We have different kind of people also, different tribes also.
Yes.
India is a very diverse country. Not similar people live there, very different people, but still the speciality of India is unity in diversity. Right? We are very different, but still we are one. So similarly in Myanmar, different ethnicities were there. Different kind of people lived there in Myanmar. And the largest group in Myanmar was Burman ethnicity. Burman ethnicity was there, and some small ethnicities are also there. So when Britishers left, one leader emerged in Myanmar. His name was Aung San. Aung San is the leader. His daughter is Aung San Suu Kyi. So forget about Aung San Suu Kyi. First we'll learn about Aung San. So what Aung San did, he gathered all the tribes and groups of people in Burma, different groups. They were, having fears from each other. So how will Burman treat us? Because Burman is a large group, ethnic group. We are very small. Like that, different apprehensions were there. But Aung San assured them that we will have a democratic setup. We will care for each other. We will have a united country. So they signed an agreement, and they became a democratic country. So initially, some 15-20 years or more, it looked that Burma will be a strong democratic country because they had elections for the first time, second time, third time. and everything was going smooth. But suddenly, one assassination happened and that changed everything in Burma. What do you mean by assassination? Killing. Generally, assassination means political killings. For example, India also saw many assassinations. Independent India. Can you name one or two or three? Gandhiji was assassinated, and we saw in the play that Gandhi was being assassinated by Godse.
Yes.
So, any other assassination you can say? Assassination in India? Rajiv Gandhi, very good. The father of Rahul Gandhi was assassinated in the year 1991. So, any other assassination? Another important assassination? Yes, very good. Who said Indira Gandhi? Oh, miss. Okay. Very good, very good. So, India also saw some assassinations. Gandhiji, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi. So, assassination means political killings. So, in Myanmar also, Aung San, the father of Aung San Suu Kyi, was assassinated. So, when that happened, so all small groups who made an agreement with Aung San to form a strong democracy, they came out of the agreement, they started fighting each other, and there was no political stability after the assassination of Aung San. So this continued for some time. So army in Myanmar took the advantage of that situation. You know, when you fight, some other may take the advantage of that situation.
Yes.
So same thing happened. Army intervened and ended democratic government and established army rule there. They had a military coup. Nepin is the leader.
General Naval.
General Name, yes, he led a military coup against the government, military democratic government, and he started ruling. You know, there was a difference between. Let's compare the Myanmar situation with Libya. In Libya, what happened when Italians, the colonial power, left? King Idris started ruling Libya. So Libya slipped from democracy to military rule, and Myanmar slipped from democracy to in Libya monarchy was there. King Idris. So from monarchy to military rule, here from democracy to military rule. So when that happened, that continued. So military, military ruler tried to give a signal or impression that they are doing good for country. For example, they started land sealings and land reforms and all, but that was those were half-hearted measures. Means the fruits of those measures could not reach to the actual beneficiaries, farmers and normal people. So as a result, people became more poor. Burma became more poor country. Why? Because all the powers, military rulers, generals were enjoying, and they were using all the resources of Myanmar for themselves and their close people. As a result, they became strong, they became rich, but normal people became impoverished. So, on the other hand, Muammar Gaddafi in Libya did something good. He gave everything, houses and education and everything.
Yes.
Libya became stronger and more literate, more healthy. Only thing Muammar Gaddafi did not give was freedom of expression. Freedom of expression, mostly. But here, neither freedom of expression was there, nor situation, nor facilities were there. Things became more worse in Myanmar during military junta. Military junta means military government. So this continued. But there was a pressure from international community on Myanmar. So some people tried to restore democracy in Myanmar. For example, who was the leader of that movement, democracy movement in Myanmar?
Aung San Suu Kyi.
Aung San Suu Kyi was there. She was house arrest. House arrest means?
She was told to be in house.
And she was not allowed to move out.
Yes.
She was in Urdu we call it Nazarband, right? So, but from being inside, during that, like that was like a prison, right? So from there she led that movement. She had many supporters. They fought for democracy and all. For her efforts for democracy, she was awarded as the Nobel Peace Prize in the year 1991, I think. Yeah. So, because of that movement and all, in 1988, I think, they had elections in Myanmar. Like generals, under pressure, they had elections. And in that election, what was the name of Suchi's party? Anybody?
NLD.
National League for Democracy, right? So NLD won the elections, swept the elections, won most number of seats. But military rulers refused to hand over power to Aung San Suu Kyi. They held elections and people supported her, but they did not hand over power. Why? Because now by the time उनको जो है power का मजा लग गया था, जैसा खून का मजा लग जाता, like that they had that. So as a result, they refused to hand over power, and she was, under house arrest. So this situation continued. They ruled for some more years, and international pressure. All countries are depend on each other for different things. For example, India is a very good agriculture country. We can produce rice, wheat, so many things. But we have to buy oil, petrol, diesel
From Saudi.
So, not just Saudi Arabia, from
Gulf
many
countries. Gulf countries.
not just Gulf countries. From Russia also we buy oil. From Iran, from Saudi, different. But basically we buy from other countries.
Yes.
So similarly, not all countries have everything. We are depend on each other. So Myanmar was also depend on each other. So international community put sanctions on Myanmar. You cannot buy things, you cannot trade with other countries. So to avoid that situation, they again held elections. In that election, she was house arrest, Aung San Suu Kyi. So NLD boycotted the election. They did not participate in the election, and as a result, what happened? A new government, a new party, with some solidarity party is there, Union Solidarity Party, right? So they won, and that was the party supported by military. Understand? That was military's party only, right?
Yes.
So they won, and one person called Thin Sein became the president of Myanmar, leader of Myanmar.
Yes.
So this continued for some time, right? Again, like she was not released. So again, after a few years, I'm not very accurate about the years. I'm telling the story. Again, in some elections, like during that time, Aung San Suu Kyi's husband died, who used to live in some European countries. But she was not allowed to go to attend the funeral of her husband, right? And to meet her sons. So she was under house arrest. So again, after some time in 2000, maybe 10 or again
10.
elections were happened.
Yes,
So
10.
this continued. Like the governments kept coming and going. Mostly it was military, either military rule or the government supported by military, like Union Solidarity Party. So finally, in late 2010s, again election happened, and in that election, Aung San Suu Kyi's party NLD won, and they formed the government. NLD formed the government. It's maybe it's not there. I'm telling you the latest version, because when this book was written, it was written during 2015 or something.
Yes.
I'm telling about now 2018 or 19.
Oh.
So again, NLD was able to form the government, but because of some technicalities, she was not able to, she could not be president of that country. So a special post was created for her, which was above president in a way, and she was called as state councillor. State councillor. But again, what is the year? 2022. Yeah, in 2022 February, again military intervened. Aung San Suu Kyi was arrested. Still now, 6 December 2022, she is house arrest. Yes. Even now, military, like democracy could not be established in
Burma.
Burma or Myanmar. Burma was the old name of Myanmar. So, still situation is not there. Like, still military rule is being, is there. Military generals are ruling. So, this shows that democracy could not be evolved or expanded in Myanmar, although many people want democracy there. Like Aung San Suu Kyi want democracy. She has many supporters. People came on streets during those protests. Even in February 2022, many people came on streets, and I think 300 or 400 people were killed by military. Strict crackdown was there against democracy lovers. Democratic, like anti-military protests were held, but the result is still military is ruling there in Myanmar. This shows that although there are democracies in many countries like India, democracy could not be evolved in many countries like Myanmar and Libya. There are many other countries also where democracy could not be strengthened or consolidated. For example, another neighboring country, Pakistan. Out of these 75 years of Pakistan's independence, half of the time military ruled in Pakistan. Some famous generals of Pakistan, military generals who ruled in Pakistan are
Pervez Musharraf.
Pervez Musharraf was the last. He was president from 1999, military ruler from 1999 to 2007. Means maybe most of you, when you were born, Pervez Musharraf was the leader of Pakistan. Military rule was there.
Yes.
Right? So, some other military rulers of Pakistan are General Ayub Khan, General Yahya Khan, General Ziaul Haq, and the last is Pervez Musharraf. Similarly, like we had military rule in Pakistan, another in India's neighboring country, Bangladesh.
Yes.
Bangladesh was East Pakistan earlier. Before 1971, Bangladesh was East Pakistan. There were two Pakistan from 1947 to 1971. East Pakistan, West Pakistan. But there was some problem between these two Pakistans, and finally they revolted against this Pakistan. They had a fight, war. India supported them. So they became independent, and East Pakistan became Bangladesh. So in East Pakistan also, military rule was there. For example, military rule was there when General Yahya Khan and Ayub Khan was there. They ruled here also. After Bangladesh was formed, the founder of Bangladesh is, any idea? Who is the president or prime minister of Bangladesh now? Any idea? Prime minister? Huh? Yes, she is a lady.
Yes.
Yeah, lady. Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina is the prime minister. The father of Sheikh Hasina was the founder of Bangladesh. His name is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So Mujibur Rahman continued to rule from 1971 to 1975. So in 1975 there was a revolt in Bangladesh. Military rule came. And one longest serving military ruler of Bangladesh was General Irshad. Irshad, yes. Okay, so what I am trying to say here is democracy could not be established in many countries. Right? We should be thankful that in India we have democracy. You can say whatever you want to Narendra Modi or any other. Nobody will come and ask you why you are saying. This is the beauty of democracy. In Saudi Arabia, you cannot say anything against the king.
Yes.
Right? in Myanmar, maybe now, if you say something against some, if you write a Facebook post or a Insta post in Myanmar, maybe you will be arrested.
Oh.
If we are in India also.
No, not in India. If you are a like citizen of Myanmar, if you write something, because they are doing that crackdown. So anyway, India is having democracy, whereas in many other countries democracy could not be strengthened. Good example is Libya and Myanmar. We compared the situation between Myanmar and Libya, and we also gave some examples about how in Pakistan military, half of the time in Pakistan military ruled, and other half of the time when civilian governments are there in Pakistan, even then it is said that, and it is correct, that military is ruling from behind, understand? So in Pakistan, like who is the Prime Minister of Pakistan now?
Imran.
No, Shehbaz Khan.
Shehbaz Sharif. Some 3 months ago, Imran Khan was the Prime Minister. So because Imran Khan had some problem with military, they changed the Prime Minister. So what I am trying to say, although democracy is there in Pakistan, for the namesake maybe, but real power is like with military, right? So this, like, it is considered that democracy is the best form of government, although it may be not the best or perfect. But in democracy, people can force governments to do whatever they want. They can choose their, choices government. Understand? Although it is not a very perfect democracy, what we have, compared to some European countries or some other countries, right? In India, we have democracies, but in many parameters, some other countries are better than India. Even some small countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, they are much, infrastructure is much better there in those countries. So, if we see the report card of independent India, maybe in some areas we are good, but there are still many areas where we lag behind, right? Okay, so we know some forms of the government, like monarchy we know.
Yes.
Like democracy, monarchy was there everywhere. There was a time before maybe 17th century or 18th century, everywhere monarchy was there.
Yes.
So democracy started from UK, Britain. They started, constitutional monarchy. Means king is there just as symbolically, but military government was established, and democratic ideas and democratic process in the world started from French Revolution. French Revolution. There are many, like during First World War, another form of government came in the world. What is that? During First World War, a new form of government came in the world. What is that? Communist system. Communist system. So communist system, okay. In India, we have multi-party democracy. There are many parties in India. Even you can form one party once you are, once you cross that age, and if you have resources and ambitions, you can start your own party. Can you name some Indian parties?
BJP, YSR, TRS, MIM.
Yeah. This shows that we have a multi-party system. Different countries adopted different kinds of democracy. For example, we have multi-party democracy. In America, we have only bi-party democracy. 2 parties are there.
Yes.
Which 2 parties are there in America?
Trump and Joe Biden.
They are the leaders of those parties. But Democratic Party, Republican Party. So Democrats, Republicans. They adopted bi-party democracy. We follow presidential, parliamentary form of democracy, where parliament is supreme. In America, they adopted presidential form of government, where president is more powerful than parliament. right? So different countries adopted different types of democracies to suit their needs, right? So a new system was introduced to the world in 1917 when First World War was going on. That system is called as communist system. Any idea you have about communist system?
Opposite of capitalism.
Yes, can you elaborate? Yeah, opposite of capitalism. Can you elaborate? Huh?
All the resources should be in government's hands.
Everyone should get equal rights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Equality.
There should be no
Yes,
supreme power.
basically communism is an economic philosophy that says that resources should be controlled by the government or state, not by individuals, right? So and the fruits of the production should be equally distributed among people.
Yes.
So this is communism. So communism is not something which was introduced to the world in 1917, but in maybe 18th century, mid of 18th century, that is 1750s, there was a person lived in Germany, I think, and his name was Karl Marx. He introduced this philosophy. But no, not Luddism was a movement against machines. Karl Marx introduced this philosophy of communism or socialism. So he introduced, but nobody took him seriously. It attracted many people, but that could not become a political system unless in 1917 Russian Revolution happened during First World War. In Russian Revolution, before First World War, or even during First World War, there was a monarchy in Russia that is called as Tsar dynasty or Romanov dynasty.
Yes.
The people were not happy with the war and they had a revolt against Tsar king Nicholas II. The last king of Tsar dynasty was Nicholas II. He was dislodged, arrested, killed by communists, right? So they introduced communist government there, and that idea of communist government impressed many parts of the world. So many countries became communist. For example, China became communist, Venezuela, Vietnam, North Korea,
Yes.
some others became communist nations. So the idea behind communist, like what attracted is, it is a very, this thought can attract you that all will be equal. Maybe Ambani will not like the idea of communism,
Yes.
but many people, workers, farmers, definitely they will fall in love with this idea of communism, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Equality. So that idea attracted many people and it became a reality, and almost half of the world became communist after Second World War or
Yes.
during that time. So from 1917 Russian Revolution till 1991 there were many, almost nearly half of the world was communist, or they were inclined towards communism. They were inspired by communism. But the bad thing they did, okay, the idea why they attracted, so those people who like the communism, they used to think that democracy is fine. But democracy is something rich people, individuals can manipulate that system from money, power, these, that and all, and they can exploit that system. So we should have workers' dictatorship. We all are workers, and workers are the one who actually work, and as a result of workers or labor, the world is running, factories are running,
Yes.
right? You can have questions after this session in 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they thought that we need to end this exploitative democracy and we need to have a communist system which will be the workers' dictatorship, and we don't need any better idea. This is the best idea and we should rule by that time, and we should spread this communism across the world. So after democracy, this communism also came, and it ruled in many countries, but slowly there was a decline of communism after Russian, Soviet Union broke in 1991. So when that happened, many people they fell out of love with communism and they adopted capitalism. And they became part of America. They went to the camp of America. During that time, after Second World War, there was an indirect war between America and USSR that is called as Cold War. During Cold War, that was a war between capitalism and communism, right? So, in 1991, Soviet Union was disintegrated after in Cold War America won and USSR lost. So as a result, in many places communism declined, but still some countries are there which are communist, namely Venezuela. Yeah, some other countries are there small, but they are not a very formidable force. So this was about Libya, Myanmar, and we also talked about how democracy could not be established in some other countries, including Pakistan, and we compared different forms of democracy, like forms of governance: monarchy, democracy, communism. Okay, if you have any questions about all these things, you can ask. Any questions?
No, sir.
Sure?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, we'll stop here and next time we'll learn some other topic. What is our next topic? These things. So we'll wind up here. Thank you so much for being here.